Hello, I'm Larry Greene, and welcome to We've Got Books, and Do We Ever? My wife, Anne Greene, multi-published, multi-award winning author, and I are coming to you from the big sky country of the Dallas-Fort Worth area of Texas, where the stars are big and bright and the folks are patriotic. I'll be your host for We've Got Books, and I'm excited to connect with you. Our goal is to introduce you to some great Christian fiction and to have fun doing so. So sit back and enjoy this visit into the literary world. Today I'm interviewing my wife, Anne Greene, about one of her 40 published books. So, Anne, our listeners would like you to tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you, Larry. I live in McKinney, Texas, and I've been writing for approximately 30 years, and publishers have published 40 of my books. I was born in Ohio, then moved to San Diego, and then to Chicago. Fleeing the frigid Illinois winters, I finally settled in Texas. I graduated from the University of Texas at Dallas, summa cum laude with a degree in literary studies, but worked as a legal assistant for a few years. Because I'm a creative person, I switched from the legal field to photography. Hubs, you and I ran our own photography studio before you, a colonel in the Army, were deployed to Iraq. Not wanting to run the studio alone, I closed shop. At that point, I began my dream job, writing Christian fiction.
Did you enjoy the life of a military wife?
Oh, yes. I enjoyed a thrilling life as a military wife, traveling with you to many overseas countries. I found Turkey to be one of the most exotic and wrote a suspense novel, Shadow of the Dagger, set in Turkey. We vacationed in the British Isles, England, Scotland, Ireland, and Wales, and I set a 2-book historical series in Scotland called Masquerade Marriage and Marriage by Arrangement. The books cover some of the most turbulent times Scotland faced.
Did you set any of your books in the U.S.?
I've always been interested in women leaving their comfort zones and entering exciting and even dangerous jobs. You'll find my World War II books like Angel with Steel Wings and A Codebreaker's Christmas Surprise set in our own USA.
What genre of Christian fiction do you write?
I'm a hybrid. Rather than specializing in one genre, I write many. My published books are historical romance, suspense, mystery, and humor. I write both historical and contemporary. I have series and standalone books. I do not write horror, dystopia, or fantasy.
Do you specialize in plot-driven stories or character-driven stories?
I often start with an event that has caught my attention. Something most people have never heard of, like my World War II book, Angel with Steel Wings, about women who test pilot planes. The event drives the whole story. While researching that event, a female character jumps into my imagination, complete with a history of problems in her background. Yep, drops in full blown. Then I think of a male who is her complete opposite, with his own needs and problems. These two meet, clash, and can't keep themselves from falling in love. They reach a point in their relationship where they realize there is no way they can ever be together. Then there's the surprise twist and solution to a happily ever after ending. So you can say my books are both plot-driven and character-driven.
Our listeners will want to know how far their romances progress.
You mean, are they R-rated? I love to reveal that Christians can fall madly in love, find Christ, or continue following Christ during their romance. But wait until marriage to unite in physical love. I know that seems archaic to young people today, but this is the way God ordained for men and women. And those who strive to put God first in their lives find His way extremely fulfilling.
I very much agree. With all the writing you do you have time for hobbies?
Well, of course, I love to read and I love to travel. You and I have been blessed to visit 40 different foreign countries. Plus, I've visited every state in our beautiful United States. Some of my books take place in foreign countries and some here in the U.S. And I dabble in oil painting. Listeners can see some of my paintings on my website, AnneGreeneAuthor.com. That's ANNEGREENE author.com. I sing in our church choir. I do aerobic dance and line dancing. And I'm always up for dinner and games with friends. While not a hobby, treasuring time with my children and grandchildren keeps me happy.
No one knows better than I that you are a busy lady. So what book are we discussing today?
Today, I'd love to tell our listeners about Shadow of the Dagger, set in the exotic country of Turkey. When I discovered you, my husband, a colonel in the army, would be deployed to Turkey, I was elated. Since Turkey contains the 7 churches of Revelation, some of the travels of Paul, the church at Antioch, where they were first called Christians, and where the Crusaders built multiple castles as they attempted to retake Jerusalem from the Muslims. A perfect setting for a suspense novel.
So you wrote Shadow of the Dagger set in Turkey. Please read the back cover copy of Shadow of the Dagger.
I thought you'd never ask. Here it is. A secret map to priceless treasure, a CIA analyst turned detective. 3 people are murdered and 1 kidnapped to find the solution to the map. As Nicole Phillips seeks to find her kidnapped brother, she doesn't know whom to trust. No one is who they appear to be. All is deception. To bring his brother's murderer to justice, CIA intel analyst Josh Baruch lays his life on the line. Can he walk the tightrope between obeying the killer's instructions and bringing them to justice? Because Nicole's husband died in a mysterious plane crash, she fears falling in love again with a reckless, danger-loving type like her late husband. Josh Baruch, the CIA analyst, using her as bait to track her brother's kidnapper, is just such a risk-taking man. Besides living on the edge, Josh is bitter about women and questions God.
I love that story. How about sharing an excerpt?
Okay, here goes. The unique melody from Nicole Phillips' cell phone signaled her deaf brother's text. She reached across the teaching contract on the kitchen table and grabbed her phone. Ian had typed, "Nikki, you're in danger. Come to Turkey with me." A familiar dart of fear made Nikki shudder. She typed, "Oh, Ian, what's wrong now?" She waited the few seconds for her words to be recorded on Ian's special light-up cell phone for the deaf. Her cell beeped. Ian typed, "I'm still at DFW Airport. Plane takes off in 10 minutes. I got a message from Parkland Hospital." A shadow spread across Nikki's sunny kitchen. Fear fingers prickled her spine. She gripped the phone so hard her nails bit into the case. She hated hospitals, hated the cold antiseptic atmosphere, hated the devastating news doctors brought into waiting rooms. Crushing her memories into a vault inside her brain, she forced her thoughts from the past. She typed, "What's up?" Ian typed, "Someone murdered my new interpreter, the multilingual one for the deaf. This murder is not even disguised as an accident." Nikki's sudden jerk almost made her drop the cell. Oh, God, please, not another death. She grasped the table to keep from turning into a quivering lump and sent another text. "What's happening to us?" Her insides renewed the tremulous dance that started with her late husband Paul's mysterious plane crash. Ian typed, "Don't know. You'll be safer with me inside the compound. I need you where you'll be protected. Whoever's doing this knows where you live. I need you. You can help with the dig." Nikki rubbed her forehead. Safe? Were they safe anywhere? She rose. Standing in her peaceful kitchen, gazing across the sunny backyard, another death seemed unreal. Their parents died in that late-night car wreck shortly after Paul crashed his plane. Last month, someone broke into the house. Twice. Though the police weren't concerned, she'd grown more and more cautious, making certain she set the house alarm and locked the door. And now this murder. Was all this death about the treasure map? Nicole typed, "You want me to spend the summer at the archaeological dig?" Ian typed, "Nikki, please. We'll both be safe in Istanbul." Was he right? Her brilliant brother usually was. Why not escape the creeping sensation which crawled up her neck each time she returned home from running errands? Was someone watching her? For some reason, she and Ian were in danger. Maybe she would be safe in Turkey. Ian needed an interpreter, and she could do that for him. Nicole typed, "Okay, I'll take the first plane I can book." She sighed. If only life could return to normal. At 28 years old, she simply wanted to teach archaeology and live a quiet academic life. These past months had knocked her to her knees. But Ian needed her. As her last surviving family member, Ian could ask her to die for him. And she would.
That's a great introduction, but our listeners always want to hear how the hero and heroine meet. Can you read a short excerpt of their meeting?
Sure. Here goes. Standing on the busy sidewalk, luggage jumbled around her feet, Nicole gazed at the hotel. Was this the right place? Had the shuttle driver understood her English? Heat from the midday sun scorched through her sandals. She clutched the book tighter to her chest. The sights, sounds, and scents of this foreign city made her acutely aware she was alone and a long way from Dallas. To top that off, Ian hadn't met her at the airport. Above the traffic din, the high-pitched voice of a muezzin on a loudspeaker called faithful Muslims to prayer. Women, heads covered and wearing long black gowns, tagged the heels of their black-suited husbands. Tourists haggled with vendors tending to pushcarts. Two men greeted one another with a kiss on each cheek. From sidewalk vendor stalls, the sights and aroma of fresh baked bread and meat sizzling in spices made her mouth water. The scene would have been exhilarating, except worry for Ian scattered her thoughts. Why hadn't he met her at the airport? Her breathing accelerated. She must stop hyperventilating. Tomorrow she and Ian were to take a rental car to the dig. He should be here. She lifted her chin. she would trust the Lord. He promised he wouldn't take her through any trial that he hadn't prepared her for. Already he'd been with her through massive, deep waters. He'd proved faithful. But could she survive more? Stop, she started. Through the snarl of pedestrians, a tall, dark-haired man raced toward her. Taliki! Taliki! He didn't look like a Turk. Before she could guess what the charging man wanted, someone from behind slammed against her. A whiplash jolted her, and the strap to her shoulder bag snapped. The thief evaporated into the crowd, her purse cradled like a football in his robe-covered arm. Hey, stop! Help! Loss and a sense of vulnerability flashed through her. She would not panic. She would remain calm. The man who had shouted rushed toward her. Her heart pounded. On the plane, the flight attendants had warned that Turkish purse snatchers worked in pairs. The running man must be after her cell phone. As the man thundered toward her, she took her stance. When the runner reached her side, she grabbed his arm. Utilizing the force of his rush, she flipped him. He sprawled flat on his back. As he fell, the man caught her hand between his arm and his body. Her feet tangled with his. She fought for balance, wavered, and collapsed on top of him. The man groaned, whooshed out air through puffed-out lips. He looked dazed and shook his head. She shoved against his chest. Thief! Leave me alone. Thief! I came to help. She kicked and squirmed, trying to untangle her limbs from his big body. Let me go. After the long plane ride, Ian not meeting her and losing her purse, this was too much. Her throat constricted and tears prickled her eyelids. A voice below her grunted. Mind getting your elbow out of my gut? Nikki struggled to her feet. Who are you? A friend. Amusement danced in his eyes. His dark good looks made her shiver. He flashed a smile, then sprang to his feet. His cavalier demeanor unnerved her. What? Do you think you're some kind of a hero? Hero? No. But you could make rational men forget their manners. Nicole hated come-on lines. She had withstood way too many. You have a lot of nerve. In my profession, nerve and fast reactions save lives. She glared. If you're not an accomplice, then help me get my purse back. Too late. Thieves disappeared into any one of 100 hiding places. Turning from his dark intensity, a sinking sensation hit her like a punch to her stomach. Her so-called rescuer was right. She glanced up and down the street, then appealed to the swarthy, skinned men sprinkled among black-clad women who had formed a ring around them. Help me! I need a policeman. Several onlookers raised open hands and shrugged. Apparently, unlike me, they don't speak English. I'm also fluent in Turkish. I'll be glad to help you. His cocksure attitude boosted her exasperation. Mr. Joshua Baruch, I had hoped to stop that purse snatcher, but your karate move sent me into a tailspin. The familiar, vulnerable, shaky feeling she hated returned. Had she manhandled the wrong person? Barak gently squeezed her arm. Let me guess. You've lost your passport and your money. Everything a tourist needs was inside your purse. She slid her arm free. Wrong. She'd hidden her passport and ID in the wallet around her waist. But she had to get her money back. had to tell the police where her hotel was located. That would be difficult due to her directional dyslexia. She glanced around the foreign scene for a street sign and found one with an unpronounceable Turkish name. Baruch tapped her shoulder. What? She pivoted to face him, to memorize his features in case she needed to identify him to the police. He was irritatingly handsome, with large dark eyes, straight brows, a slender nose, and full, firm lips. His slight grin and his manner indicated events transpired to his liking. Though clean-shaven, stubble showed beneath the taut skin of his square jaw. With his olive complexion, he looked Mediterranean. Yet his English sounded pure American. I'm here to help. He smoothed his rumpled shirt and flicked dirt from his khaki pants. I'm a fellow American. Her exasperation faded. She gathered her composure around her, but it lay limp as silk in a rainstorm and felt as transparent. In the States, she avoided this type of man. Even before Paul, she hadn't trusted fine-looking men, especially men who held a high opinion of themselves, like this one. But she had no one else until Ian showed up. She turned from Baruch's intrusive eyes, and this city was huge and foreign. She didn't know her way around. And you, Josh Baruch, make me extremely wary.
Wow, that's some meeting. What would you like readers to take away from reading Shadow of the Dagger?
I've learned to step out in faith into unknown and uncomfortable situations. And Nicole learns this in Shadow of the Dagger. I often use the verse found in Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. And if listeners have any wonderful Jewish friends, Josh is a seeking Jew who finds his Messiah in Shadow of the Dagger.
That's good to know. Do you have anything else you'd like to share with our listeners? Tell them about your newsletter and your webpage.
You can find my webpage at annegreeneauthor.com. That's ANNEGREENE author.com. My webpage posts pictures of all my books and also pictures of my travels, shows some of my oil paintings, offers a brief biography, and provides a synopsis of my books, plus a link to where you can buy them. I post information about your military career there. Also, listeners can join my newsletter on my webpage. My newsletter brings you up to date on my new books released and events in my life. Did I mention I also give away autographed copies of my books? I would love to have our listeners visit and get to know me. Also, I'd like to mention that most of my books are on audio as well. So you can purchase an ebook, a print book, and or an audiobook. And they've recently been translated into Spanish.
Your website sounds like a great place for listeners to go. Listeners, once again, our time has zoomed by. We hope you've enjoyed your time with my wife, Anne, and me as much as we enjoyed having you. Join us next week when we interview well-known author Paula Peckham and her book, Still Haven't Found What I'm Looking For. Listeners, we're so glad you joined us. Don't forget to go to buzzsprout.com. That's buzzsprout.com to We've Got Books and enjoy some of our 50 other podcasts with different authors. You can also find our podcasts on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, or your favorite podcast host. Or you can go to Anne's website, annegreeneauthor.com, and click on the podcast tab. All our podcasts are short, fun, and introduce you to authors and books. I'm Larry Greene with Anne Greene saying goodbye for now and read a good book. We hope you choose one of our fabulous books from We've Got Books. See you next time. Keep exploring the world through reading. Reading reduces stress, sparks new ideas and interests, and improves your vocabulary. So keep reading.